Hi, I'm Jane Slivka, and I'm going to do a quick painting. Hopefully, maybe you can paint along with me or be inspired to try this yourself. It is fun, and it's loose, and it's painterly, and it's just, there's a certain intrigue about a little vagueness in every painting, so that's certainly what we're going to have here. So, first of all, as you know, I don't know if you follow me or if you've seen my other videos, but every canvas I paint on starts with a red background or an orange background. So I paint that first. I like it to dry, either overnight or a few hours, but to make sure it's really bone dry before you start painting. And then of course I've got my Stay Wet palette where all my paint stays wet under a wet sponge. I didn't start fresh today for you because I already have all this paint from yesterday. So, or actually from the whole few days ago. So. All right, are you ready? We're going to start. I'm going to use a huge brush. I'm going to use a 2-inch brush. How do you like that? And that's just going to, and I like painting flat. This is kind of my new thing. First of all, I'm not right on top of it. I can't get picky, and I can use my whole arm, which is sore for painting, I have to tell you. But I can block it in and use, just really big brush strokes, which is fun. So I'm going to wet my brush and I'm going to dip into some Hooker's green, my favorite color. It's almost black. It's such a dark green, but you add white to it, you get a gray green. You add yellow, you get a nice warm kind of vegetation green. So I'm just going to start. Maybe this is going to be a palm tree right here like this. Right there. And when I do my palm trees, I just make a quick tree trunk and I just kind of spider off of it. Look how much you can do with this big fat brush. I'm excited. Some of you are thinking, well then why can't I paint the sky first and I'm doing all that? Well, this is the way I like to do it. I like to do the negative painting. I like everything kind of, it's a two-dimensional painting, so even the sky between the leaves and everything, that should be painted as well as the positive thing, the leaves itself. You'll see what I mean when we get there. I think I'm just going to leave it now. This is going to be just some grasses. See, I'm blocking in my shapes. This is going to be grass. Maybe I'll put a little bit over here. I kind of want to break it up so that the viewer can move into, I don't want to have the grasses go all the way across the bottom because it kind of blocks our eye from the journey, okay? So let's just stop right there. I'm going to put my horizon line in. Now, you never want to put your horizon line across the middle of the canvas, of course, you know that. So sometimes you think that you're not doing it, and it turns out that you are. So I'm going to put my horizon line about right here. And that's going to be some body of water, I don't know. And then I'm going to kind of jump in, still all using a 2-inch brush. Now I know that if you have a smaller canvas, a 2-inch doesn't make as much sense, but I guess maybe put the brush to scale. This is a 30 by 30 canvas. This is one of my favorite sizes.
And what color are you using right now?
This is white, but you can
Just
see
white.
It's mixing with a little bit of the Hookers.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's supposed to look like, it's supposed to look like sand, and it will. And then I'm going to kind of indicate that there's some grasses. Look at this, I can do so much. Let the brush work for you. It's a tool, and it can do many things. Look at it, flat. I get these little like straw-like things. That's kind of like a dry brush method, but I've just got a lot of color on here that's not really mixed. It mixes on the canvas. what I mean is I don't mix little puddles of color I'm going to use. I let that mix itself. I'll pick up some white and throw it over the wet green and it'll turn gray. As you can see. So you see my grasses, this is my first layer. Of course, we're going to let this dry. And at this point, I'm going to let this dry and then we'll come back. No, actually, we're not. I'm going to do one more little thing. I'm going to just put a quick layer on my palm trees. I added some yellow to some hookers, or picked up. My hooker's green is wet, so a little bit of yellow will make it a nice green.
And what yellow are you
It's a cadmium yellow.
Cadmium yellow.
Medium.
Okay.
Yeah. The light is nice if you're doing objects or something, but it's very it's got a fluorescent quality to it, which is sort of hard to control. And so I kind of like the yellow medium. Okay, and at this point I'm going to stop and then I'll show you the next step after it dries a little. All right, I got some more white. I have to have, I go through a lot of white. I'm sure you do too. It's just the way it is. It kind of just brightens a lot of the colors. And clean your water often. I've cleaned my water already since I started this painting because really, if you start to paint with dirty water, your paint's going to look muddy. Makes sense, but we just don't think about that. We get so involved, we don't want to get up and change our water. So you can see, I just like adding the white. It looks really fresh. Just slapping it down. Let's see what a little portrait pink would look like. I'm not mixing it on the palette, just on my brush. Isn't that pretty? I'm going to hold this up for you when I'm done, so let me get a better look. Got little red holes coming through. I don't want that many. But you don't want to keep rubbing this. You want to keep it fresh, keep your brush strokes fresh. And one other step. I'm adding white to phthalo green. White to phthalo green. And I'm just going to paint a little water in here. Look at it, I'm painting upside down. All for you. And but I think sometimes that could be to my advantage. Give me a new way to look at things. Upside down. Painting is just shapes anyway. It's just a series of shapes that tell us our story. Whether it's abstract or the most realistic style, any style, it's just really your composition is so important and your values are important. I like this kind of, I like my horizon lines to be kind of soft. I don't like real harsh lines everywhere in the painting. Your eye needs to, get a break and go from one shape to another. So at this point, I'm going to stop and let this dry. I'm going to hold it up really quick. It'll start dripping, but I'm going to do it real quick just because. Wait a second. I got this over here. So, there we go. And you can see, so you see how wet it is, and it's nice and juicy, but when it dries, the paint's going to soak in. It's going to soak into the canvas, and we might put another layer, we might not. Maybe that little red coming through will be a nice glow. I got to lay it down now because it's wet. Yep, already some streaks, but it was worth it to show you. And I'll be back to finish this painting with you as soon as it dries. So, oh, and a quick way to make it dry is the hair dryer, or you can take it out in the sun. So now that I've got it picked up, I'm just going to finish it. I'm just going to do a little bit more detail. Not too much, but you can see that right now I've got my composition done. I've got my values kind of done. I'm going to put some values down here in the sand. But I've got it done. So now it's just as, it depends on how far you want to take it. I'm just going to put another layer of palm fronds on my tree. This is kind of a army green coming out there. I love these brushes because I can spin them in my hand and use the point or use the side for a straight line. I'm going to need more sky holes in here, but just back and forth. You don't want the viewer to see what exactly, what order you painted anything, because it's positive and negative. I'll paint some sky holes and I'll paint some leaves over it, and then I'll paint more sky holes, and it's back and forth, and it's fun. I'm gonna make a little bit more of a dramatic mud. It looks like mud.
And what color did you just
I
add?
just threw a little phthalo blue. That was
Okay.
kind of scary back here. And I said I already liked a soft horizon line, and now I know why. So, I'm just showing you. You can just mess around, bringing a little of that phthalo into the sky, which doesn't hurt at all. It actually would be reflecting up there, right? So, can I even do some more of that? Some clouds here. Painting it's just practice, and it's like if you just keep doing things, every painting you're going to learn something. Every painting, and every painting is going to have its bad moments and bad areas and just plain not work out. But you will learn from that. But it just gets easier the more you do it. I've had friends say, well, I just can't get in the mood. It's funny about painting though, even if you're not in the mood, and once you get started, it puts you in the mood. So you're okay. It just, and some days are better than others. Some day, yesterday I had a bad painting day. And some days I come in here to the studio and I'm just on fire. So it just depends. But, give yourself a break. If I'm having a bad painting day, that's when I decide, well, I think I'll just go through my photographs. Or maybe I'll handle some of those emails that I have been neglecting. So just do something else for a while. Even I suggested sometimes to my students, go to a museum. Look at art books. Look at videos. Take a break. So you can just see what I'm doing is I'm just using the side of my brush. I'm making some grasses. And they're kind of random in value. And then I'm going to, this is what students do. And I did too at first. But you go, oh, and I'm doing it now actually. That looks good. I think I'll do that 1,000 times. And then what you do is you cancel that interest out because it's just too much. It's everywhere. So I'm taking the flat part of my brush and I'm going to soften up some of these grassy brush strokes because they were getting a little bit. I'm talking and I'm getting carried away. So one final thing that is very important, my new favorite color for shadow is, I don't make a puddle of it, I dip into light blue violet, and a little purple, and then a little Naples yellow. I got all that on there. And I'm going to just kind of, and then maybe I'll put some more light blue in there. It just makes this beautiful shadow color. I'm going to cast a shadow down here in my sand. And then completely get that paint off my brush. Re-wet my brush, put it in some white paint with a dab of Naples yellow, just a little bit of that, really gives you the feeling of sunshine. And then I'm going to go back in my sand here. And a little bit more Naples yellow in there. One of the reasons I started to paint in acrylic and loved it so much from watercolor is when I discovered this palette that I could just keep my paint wet for weeks, you know, keeping my sponge wet, and then finally when it's had enough, just to throw it away and start over. It makes such a difference because I don't waste any paint. And you got to be generous with your paint. You've got to use a lot of paint because that's how you can get such fun, juicy brush strokes. You just got to get out there and throw it around. So there's my sand. I'm going to go back over my water again probably, and do some more little sky holes. Let's do that right now before I wrap this up. So there's more painting videos on my website, janeslivkagallery.com. On the shop page, you can purchase still lifes and landscape and figure. So you can paint along with me, and it's pretty fun. And I'm hoping to get better at this as I go. So there's my sky holes. Believe me, they look better from there than they do up close here. But you know, I will go back in and finish. You know, and always paint where it's dry. When this gets really dry, probably this afternoon, I'll tweak it out. Just a few things when it's really bone dry. I'd kind of like to maybe make some waves back here, like this. That feel. Sort of like that, if it works. It's, you know, acrylic dries a little bit darker. If you have trouble with your horizon line, which I do, sometimes I end up just getting a T-square and putting it across there just to check and make sure that it's sitting in the canvas properly. It's not going to drive the viewer crazy. So anyway, it was fun painting with you. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. We'll paint something different. And oh, don't forget, paint on the table flat. It's really fun. Hurts your back, but you can do this. You've got this. See you later. Bye.